now, but when we come back on HerSay, we're going to talk to the only and the first female pilot in the UAE. And she's a Marathi, and she's got an incredible story. Apart from that, if you've been wondering about Terminal 3 at the airport with so many people traveling in and out and through Dubai, we're going to tell you all about it, so stay tuned.
Women have been breaking barriers for years when it comes to entering male-dominated careers. Or have they? Because today it seems that we're still trying to break through those very same barriers. Now, when it comes to entering careers, there's a lot of women that have set the precedent for us. Right. For me, being from the U.S., the one that I can think of most recently is Barbara Walters. First female news anchor on the evening news.
Right. I think in India, in terms of politics, we've had the first lady president, Pratibha Patil, and the jailer of the toughest jail in India, Tihar jail, was a woman, and that was a huge thing. That was Kiran Bedi. So, yeah, and the police force.
Well, I think the most obvious one for the UAE is obviously Sheikha Lubna Al-Qasimi.
Of course.
She's the first UAE minister, female minister. And she's set the way for a lot of women, because now everybody looks at her and she's a role model, not just for being a minister, of economy, obviously, but for so many other things as well.
Well, Australia's just seen the very first female Governor-General come in. And of course, that's the next biggest thing since, of course, Thatcher. So even though Thatcher was the UK, but still, we're still part of the Commonwealth.
First Prime Minister. Well, male-dominated careers are jobs such as detectives, architects, chefs, IT techs, the list goes on. But basically, if there's less than 25% of women working in that field, that is how it's termed a male-dominated career.
Right.
Now, my question to you guys is what if you are sitting on an airplane, getting ready to take off, and the captain comes on and it's the voice of a woman? How would you feel? Tia?
Not differently, honestly. And I've been in one such plane. And it actually felt very nice. I was like, yeah, you go, girl.
That's good. Jessica?
Oh, I couldn't stand it.
Okay, well, we're going to look at a clip and see what everybody else out there may think.
If you find out that your pilot on the plane is a woman, do you feel more anxious than having a man?
Yes, really. Maybe I don't feel okay if the pilot is a woman.
Not really. No, that wouldn't make any difference. As far as she knows how to do it, it's her job, so that won't make any difference.
I think so. It should be safe. If women can drive cars and buses or whatever, they can be able to drive planes as well.
I don't mind a woman being a pilot. I think she'll be more able.
Yes, of course. My God, why? Why would you do that?
I think it's safe to say that we're going to have a bone to pick with a lot of those men.
Yeah, I think so. My God.
And that woman, I guess.
Right? Well, this evening we have with us Aisha Al-Hamili, who happens to be the very first UAE national female pilot, right here sitting with us. And you are basically the antithesis of what I would think of as a female pilot. Tia and I were saying that earlier.
Exactly, because you're so delicate looking and very sort of porcelain, and maybe we just expected, according to stereotypes, someone a little tougher.
Well, that's just
You're lovely.
Now, here's my question. When you are on that plane and people find out that there's a woman steering that plane, what are some of the reactions?
In fact, when I started with Abu Dhabi Aviation, which actually flies to oil islands. And not only I was the only one in the airplane, but also on the island. So I was like in a male world, literally. In fact, at the beginning, I always faced those comments, like especially when I walk through the terminal through the passengers, because I wear the uniform and they obviously know that I'm the one who's going to fly the airplane. And I hear those comments like, oh my God, we haven't prayed. We're going to go pray and come. And it's like, okay, you can swim to the island if you want. It will be easier for you. So, but with the time, I think they got used to the idea, and I think it just needs time and trust till they actually cut those comments. But
now
at the beginning,
that
it
sounds
was
like
annoying.
a challenge. What are some of the other challenges that you faced working in that male-dominated career?
In fact, technically, it was like the flying part, it was very easy because I'm very passionate about it. But the hard part was actually the social comments, and not only for, actually not to me, they were not very bothering, but it's for my family, because I was bothered for my family.
Now, I wanted to ask you a question, Aisha, because we know each other. And when I first heard, I was like, oh my God, I'm finally going to meet her, which was an amazing feat because it's so rare to meet people who are the first, particularly when it comes to women. How did your family feel? You were 16 and you just said, hey, I want to fly. How did it go about and how did they take it?
Well, my mom was like in a shock mode. My dad was like, okay, she's 16, going through that period of time where she just wants something, and let me just take her to Jordan and let her go fly the glider. The glider, by the way, doesn't have an engine. They just tie you and fly you. And then I just decided, no, I wanted the commercial, and I changed schools. And actually, I was 15, but it was my birthday, which actually they didn't want to take me in because I was 15. But the trick was, my birthday was in the summer during July, so I was like, okay, I'm going to study as a student pilot, and then on my birthday, I'm going to get the license, and this is how it worked out. My family never flown with me. And the morning I fly, my father said, do not say hello, just say hi when you come in. Just do not say goodbye. So they actually worry about me, but they don't show it. They're actually numb. With the time, they got numb.
So what were the social things, the social negativities, I guess you could say, that went towards your family, if you weren't receiving many of them?
Well, first, they were talking about stuff that are irrelevant nowadays, like, oh, she's going to work in mixed environment. We're working in mixed environments anywhere. She's going to fly and travel. Hey, women travel all the time. It's like, regardless of the career, it's actually, it's more safe to be with one man rather than with a lot of men. Actually, it's not only one man in the cockpit, but usually it is. But the social comments were a little bit annoying, like, oh, she travels, she's alone, she's free. Although I'm free in some sense, but I'm very conservative in essence.
Sure,
like, I'm very traditional.
That didn't discourage you in any way?
Not in any way. Actually, it was more like a challenge, and I wanted to take the challenge. And this is absolutely. I didn't want to look like a failure in front of the people, because they were like, "You can't do it. You're a woman at the beginning." And then, oh, she did it, but she is not appropriate.
But surely that negativity must have encouraged you even more.
Oh, absolutely, and not even that. The best part about my starting, because I was the only one, and I got attention from, like, for example, at the beginning, honestly, I wasn't accepted in most of the airlines because I was 18 years old when I graduated, and I was young, and they were like, are you going to get married anytime soon? It's like, I'm 18, I'm not getting married anytime soon. Bond me with a contract. So they were worried about those kind of situations that will take me out of flying, and they were worried about committing themselves to myself. And then I found out about Abu Dhabi Aviation, which at the time I was studying at my university. I wanted to continue my studies. And Sheikh Hamdan bin Mubarak actually is the one who believed in me, because the lower management, they were like, she won't go to oil fields. She's a woman. There are no women pilots. There are no women.
It's always those guys, though. It's always the lower management who always have those negative comments.
But then, can I ask you? We've seen that. Well, specifically in your case as a pilot, there are very few women pilots. Why do you think that is, even today?
Well, I would say it's more a psychological aspect. Like, if I want to talk about the UAE side, I mean, how old is the UAE? 37 years? And compared to other countries, I mean, I would say, in my view, like most of the countries, still the idea of a woman pilot is not very conventional in the career.
I think even in Western nations.
It's not the norm.
Absolutely.
No, not at all.
And you know the thing that I'm very impressed with, like when I started in 1998, it was a new concept for a woman to start flying, and it was actually very hard for women to get into that field. And 5 years ago, I noticed that most of the airlines are, in their application in the newspapers, are saying she or he, or like a woman, like lady or man. I was like, wow, they are starting to open up. And even though, like, I don't know, we're blessed with our leaders, because even in the army we have women pilots now.
Of course,
So this is huge at the moment.
Mashallah.
But I think
you make us proud.
Yeah, you do make us proud.
Thanks so much.
Inshallah, you'll be a captain very soon as well.
Yes.
Inshallah, I hope so.
But Aisha, thank you so much for joining us on the show. It's fantastic. It's a real honour to have you on.
Thank
and I'm
you
sure
very
you've
much.
inspired lots of girls who are watching the show at the moment.
Thank you very much. My honor.
But we actually have someone else that's very special and very unconventional, a female taxi driver. Let's have a look at this special report.
Well, being a taxi driver in Dubai is somewhat a little bit good in experience. It's the first time taxi driver. I am very exciting and enjoyable in this type of job. Some passengers were negative, but most passengers are positive. They have constructive criticism, in the sense that this job is a very challenging for a woman, but this job is for a man's job. But there is no exception for that, because a man and a woman's job is equal.
Do you feel confident being driven by a lady taxi driver?
Very confident. Women are just as good as men and we can do the job.
You feel safe and you feel comfortable and not intimidated.
Definitely we do need more women drivers in Dubai, because you do feel a woman, you feel more comfortable with a woman if you want a woman driver.
She's just as good and she smiles nicely.
Well, if you're one of those people who are planning to head away on your summer vacation, think about this. You're going